Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you what is inheritance and how to use inheritance in C++. So we all know that C++ is an object-oriented programming language, right? And inheritance is one of the most important concept of object-oriented programming. So what inheritance does? Inheritance allows us to define a class in terms of another class, right? So once again, inheritance allows us to define a class in terms of another class, which makes us easier or which makes it easier to create and maintain our application. And this in result will increase the reusability of code and faster implementation of our code. So let me give you an example. For example, you want to calculate the area of some shapes, and this shape is a polygon, right? So what polygon can be? Polygon can be a rectangle, polygon can be a square, polygon can be even triangle, right? And why I'm saying this is because each of the polygon has similar property. And what is the property? Every polygon, rectangle or square or triangle have height and width. Okay, so height and width are common to each polygon, but the calculation of area for each of the polygon is different, right? So what we can do is we can define a class which have width and height that we can reuse in other class, for example rectangle, square, triangle, or any other variable, so that it will reduce our code writing also, and it will use the reusability of our width and height in our polygon class. So let's see how we can define uh, inheritance classes in C++. So I have already told you we have polygon class, and in this class, for example, I name this class as shape. Okay, and this class has two member variables, width and height, as I have told you. And what are these? These are protected members. Now I think I haven't discussed about protected access modifier before, so this is the right time, I think. So protected member of a class are reusable or can be used in other class which is inheriting this class. Okay, so I'm going to give you once I complete this example, you will be able to understand what is protected, and I will repeat this definition once again. And you already know what is public members. Public members are available in other classes freely, even though they are not inheriting from the base class. So we have our class which we call as base class, which will be a base class for rectangle, square, or triangle classes, and the height and width we want to keep common to this rectangle, square, or triangle class. So we have the class called shape, which has protected members, which is height and width, and which has public function which sets these the value of width and height. Okay, so this is a simple function which takes two arguments, and whatever argument we pass it in this function, it will set the value of these two, width and height, right? So this shape is a base class. Now for example, I define a class called rectangle, rectangle this little bit. Okay, So rectangle, and in this rectangle we want to calculate the area of the rectangle. Okay, so this has public function called void area, and what it does, it's just we are using to calculate the area of the rectangle, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to use these width and height from the shape class to our rectangle class. And how we can use it? By using inheritance. And how we can inherit from our shape class to our rectangle class. Okay, so the shape class in our case is called a base class, and rectangle class is in our case is called the derived class. And how we can inherit from this shape class, inherit these member variables or member functions in the derived class, we just use a colon, this kind of colon, and then we define a access modifier, which is public, and then the name of our class from which we are deriving. Okay, so this kind of declaration is called inheriting from the base class to the derived class, and rectangle in this case is called the derived class, and shape in this case is called the base class from which we are inheriting. And what we are inheriting? We are inheriting height and width of the polygon. Okay, so we have the function, public function, and we want to calculate the area, right? So what we can do, because we are inheriting from the shape class which have height and width defined already, we can use all the public and protected members of the base class in our derived class. We can use this height and width in our derived class. So what we can do, return what is the area of the rectangle, height into width. And because we are inheriting from shape class and these are the member variable of shape class, we can use it here also, height multiplied by width. Okay, so inheritance allows us to reuse the base class member variable which are either protected or public. Okay, and it will give you the area of the rectangle, right? Now in order to calculate the area, let's define other class, for example triangle, and this also will inherit from the shape class, and we also want to calculate the area of the triangle. So this is a class, second class, which is inheriting from the shape class, and in this class also we want to calculate the area of the rectangle, triangle, right? And the area of triangle is height into width divided by 2, right? If you all agree with me, I think. So area of the triangle is width into height divided by 2, right? So what we are doing, we are reusing the variables from our base class in our derived classes, which are rectangle and triangle. Now we can just define the object of our rectangle class. Rectangle is equal to rectangle rec. Okay, and we can define the object of triangle class, triangle tri, for example. And what we can do is we can reuse, or we can use the function which is set value which is there in the shape class by using these objects called rectangle or triangle, because we are inheriting from our shape class, right? So once we write rect, which is an object of rectangle class, dot, and you can see here set values is available here, right? So we are going to use this, and we can set, for example, we want to calculate the area. Width is equal to 15 and the height is equal to 10. Okay, so this will give you the width and height. With this will set the width and height. And I forgot one thing, because we are returning this, we need to return int instead of void, right? You may be confused why I'm writing void here. It should be int because we are returning integer value, right? In a similar way, I can use triangle object to calculate the area of the triangle, and the member function set value is also available here. For example, the same values I want to give in the case of this triangle to calculate the area of triangle. So this set function is there in our base class, but we can reuse this in our derived class using the object of our derived classes, right? Now to calculate the area, I can just write std, not here, but here, standard, which is standard, cout, and then we can just print area rectangle is equal to, so the area of rectangle we can find it from this rectangle function, which is a area function, right? Area. So we can use this object of this rectangle class, right? So rec dot area, right? It will give us the area of the rectangle. Then I will just write the end line, and in a similar way I can find the area of the triangle, area triangle. Okay, and this time we are going to use try object. So let's try and run the program. I will just build this, and yes, we want to build it now, and it gives some error. Let's see what is the error. Okay, so here I forgot the semicolon, here also I forgot the semicolon, and let's rebuild it once again. And still, because this has to be here. And when we will build it, we can see area rectangle is 150, which is 10 multiplied by 15, which is 150, and the area of triangle is 75, which is 15 multiplied by 10 divided by 2, which is 75. Okay, so this is the concept of inheritance. So once again, what inheritance does? Inheritance allows us to reuse our member functions or member variables from the base class, which is shape in our case, and we can inherit from shape class because what we want to reuse this height and width function in our rectangle class and triangle class, or even square class, for example. And in the derived class, so class which is inheriting from our base class is called the derived class, and in this this class has the access to all the protected members and public members of the base class. So what are protected members? Protected members are the members which can be reused in the derived class. Okay, so class in which we are deriving, from which we are deriving, these are protected. But if it was a private member, height and width were the private member, we cannot use it in the derived class. Private members are private to the class. They cannot be reused outside the class. And what are the public members? Public members can be used everywhere, right? Even if this rectangle class will not be derived from the shape class, even then also we will use public members from shape class. But in order to reuse this height and width, we need to define these members as protected, because we are inheriting from this and we want to reuse this height and width, right? So this is how you use protected members. Protected members are only available in the derived class and not in any other class. And public members are available in any class, even though it's not inheriting any class. And private members cannot be used outside your class because they are private, right? So this is the difference between public protected and private access modifiers. And this is how you can use uh, this inheritance. Now, how you come to know that you can use inheritance in your C++ program? So C inheritance always have the relation of is a relation. So I will write it in double quote, is a relation. Okay, and what is this is a relation? If you can find this relation, for example, rectangle is a polygon, right? Square is a polygon, triangle is a polygon, then you can use inheritance, right? I will give you another example. For example, we have the base class called animal, and we have derived class dog, cat, for example. So dog is an animal, right? Cat is an animal. So in this case also, we can use inheritance, where our animal class will be a base class which can be reused in place of shape, and dog and cat can be used as derived class which can inherit from animal class. So I hope you have understood the concept of inheritance, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.